It is 9, time to pour the wine, or Welch's grape juice, whichever you prefer, sugar or no sugar. No sugar really changes the taste of grape juice, you know? How are you? We're back in the studio, we are. Patrick Filas first, and only, as I look right now, one person, one like. But I know Elaine Peterson is here because she's already emailed. Yeah, we were off last week, and we're back with Worldwide Ramblings Wednesday and probably Saturday this week. Also, let's see, thinking about some Culvers for lunch. Ha, 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 ha. You probably have a Culvers. I don't. I think about this all the time. You know, I have to settle for a McDonald's Filet-O-Fish with some kind of discount fish. I'm not saying it's not tasty, salty, but it's nothing like Culver's. So, yeah, what can I tell you? Maybe I'll run into one when I go down to Tennessee, huh? I'm going to be looking for Buc-ee's and I'm going to be looking for Culver's. And I'll drive a few miles if I have to get one. Karen Phillips is here from further upstate New York than I am here in the Hudson Valley, although I still don't know where. Hi, Jack and everyone. Pam Donnelly. No Stick Pam. Pam Spam. How are you, Pam? Good to see you here. I have a Culver's. It's great. Yeah, we'll rub it in, will you? I'm told the burgers are pretty good, but, you know, I eat less burgers than I used to. I don't have the craving for burgers that I once did. However, once in a while, I do. I have a craving either for a Big Mac, quarter pounder with cheese, or a Dave's Double from Wendy's. Once in a while. I didn't satisfy the Dave's Double craving last time. Karen kind of talked me out of it. So it's still in my brain, rolling around there. And there's lots of space for wrench should anybody like to advertise. Hi, Elaine Peterson. How are you? How you doing? Elaine from Spain. Helen McDonald is here. I'm sorry, I'm not doing this in order. Hi, Jack and everyone from cold, wet Australia. How cold, how wet is it? How wet is it? Nancy DeMarco. Fancy Nancy. I bet it's warm in Oklahoma. No? Hi, Jack and friends. Hi, Nancy. Welcome. Let's go all the way to New Zealand for Carmen Sylvia, the She-Hulk herself. Go to her channel, Carmen Sylvia Official, to check all that out and her music as well. Teresa Pennell, Buc-ee's in Benton, opens this fall. I don't know. It is more than a hop, skip, and a jump. A hop, skip, and a jump. What's a jump? I've never known. Well, I think there'll be one in my path when I go to Tennessee in July. Won't there? I know that Todd Bradshaw was saying that his hadn't opened yet near Sale Creek, but there's more than one in Tennessee. So, yes. Shirley Chambers. Shirley is here. Shirley Reeves. Was she the lead singer of the Shirelles? Of course she was, right? Yeah, I've seen Shirley Reeves. She was fantastic. Chi-Chi, also from Australia, I do believe. Hi, everyone. Hi, Chi-Chi. It's been a while. 11:03 a.m., huh? Good morning, sunshine. Nearly lunch break. How are you today? Now, when you say lunch break, are you working a job? When you use the word break, that makes me think you might be on the clock. Carmen Sylvia says fish and chips fish burgers are so nice. Fish burgers? Well, the Culver's is not in the round bun shape. It isn't. It's more rectangle, right? You Culver's people. And I love it. What do you have there in New Zealand, Carmen? Do you have McDonald's? Do you have Burger King? Do you have Wendy's? Do you have authoritarian government? Do you have Jack in the Box? Any of those things? Hmm. Hi, family, says Elaine Peterson. Say hello to Elaine Peterson. Just a butter burger from Culver's. Oh, you just had one from Culver's yesterday. I was asking my son what a butter burger is, and I can't remember a thing that he said. He's driving right now. We should call him on the phone. I'm sure he'll be thrilled. He's working evenings now, not doing those hard deliveries. He loves when I talk about him. He just says, Dad, talk about me more. Share my PIN number if you want to. He's very open about those things. Hobdob, where you been? Hi, Jack. Hi, Hobdob. What's going on? She often gives me some good information in the email. Keep it coming. And yes, Jack, I'm on a shift at Bendigo's Hospital. Bendigo Hospital today. What part of Australia is that in? And if you want, share what you do there. What do you do? I did security in a hospital after my 19 years at Camp LaGuardia. It was harder than my peace officer job at the homeless men's shelter. Not always. Sometimes you're just sitting there handing out passes. What can go wrong, right? Other times, someone's going nuts in the ER. They're flailing all around. They don't have handcuffs. They've got these cheap little things. They look like seat belts, frayed seat belts. And my skill to put those on someone who was going crazy was -2 to 0. So I could do everything else. They put me on the shuttle bus going up and down the hill. They had, at that time when it was the old Horton Hospital, they had a parking lot way down the hill, up and down the hill, listening to the Yankees game in the spring, summer, fall. Happy, happy, happy. But nobody wanted that job. But when I got it, they were jealous that I had it. Oh, he likes that because he can't do the stuff in the, he can't put people down. He can't stop something that's going on. Certainly by himself, he can't. So they started to get jealous, People that like me and people that talk to me and we had good conversation were now complaining that, I wasn't that good in the physical stuff. And they were right. I got away with this for 19 years at Camp LaGuardia as a peace officer. I know I wasn't. And so eventually I made one day, I've only done this a few times in my life, but I made an on-the-spot decision. I've had enough. I've had enough of the complaints from the officers, not so much my bosses. I had talked to the big boss, and he said, well, not everybody excels in every area. Of course, when, there's bad stuff happening, it can be in a patient's room and they're going crazy or something like that. Anyway, I made an impromptu decision to say, I'm leaving. I'm done. So I'm driving home and I tell this to my second wife and she says, well, there goes our health insurance. There goes our health insurance. She was not happy about it. Neon. Hello there. Hey, hey. Nice to see you. The Grand Patriarch is here, finally making an appearance here. Mr. Jackalow, I'm watching the Knicks game. So I can tell you right now, he either only be here for 2 minutes, but I know it's a big deal. I couldn't care less about dribbling a ball up and down unless I'm doing it, because then it's exercise, and I'll try my best to get it in the hoop and everything like that. Watching a bunch of guys sweating going up and down the hoops. They're almost tall enough to reach the hoop, some of them. And it goes forever. It's freaking June and it's still going on. By October, they'll be back practicing and then they'll have their first trial games in October. They're not gone for very long, are they? but I know it's a very big deal, and I hope the Knicks win. New York pride. New York pride. I may not care anything about basketball, not much about hockey, definitely nothing about football, zero, but I respect those that do. I respect those that do. How about those Yankees? I understand that that Judge is off to a fine start, Richard, and that the pitcher with a C, what the heck is his name? He's even though I think he's like 35 years old now, Cole is off to a blazing start. Yeah, don't get injured because this is what happens. They either get injured or they choke in the playoffs. Jack, you dribble a different way. Well, yes, but it just proves to me that you have installed cameras in my home. Judge got hurt, I heard. Don't say that. Judge, not Judd. It's not Ashley Judd playing, is it? No, it's certainly not Winona. She just not ready for it. Oh, I hope he didn't, but if he did, that's a shame. Mr. Jack, I'm watching the Knicks game, just checking in. Exactly. And in and out. You're like In and Out Burger, Richard. I get it. Well, thank you for doing that much, because we need more people here. We need more people. We need more success in all ways, shape, and form. Um, yes, all the food stores, but not Jack in the Box, Carmen Sylvia says. So you have all the others I mentioned. You don't have a Buc-ee's, right? It'd be funny if you had a Buc-ee's and we don't have one here in New York. Yeah, Jack in the Box. Well, Taco Bell then, right? You got a Taco Bell? Got to have a Taco Bell, right? I think there's one on the moon now. They just opened. Hit the like. Come on for Jack. Well, that's one thing is the like button. That helps. Subscribe if you haven't already. That helps too. I'd like to get to 1,200 views before I get to 1,200 views. 12,000 subscribers before I turn 100 years old. I'm only like 12, 13 away, So come on, new people. Hello, replay crowd. Please hit the subscribe button, the like. What are you saying about Culver's Burgers? See, I just am so stuck on that fish that when I see a Culver's, I ain't getting a burger, People rave about Whataburger, In-N-Out Burger, and of course, let's not forget you Texas people. Any Texas people here today? Let me look through my list here. I don't see M. Silva, for example. We do have Texas people, but if you're in Texas, you gotta go to Bun Slut. That's right, Richard. Bun Slut. And you might want to make your burger extra juicy. Get the extra slut sauce. I'm telling you what's on the menu, family. I'm not being blue. This is Bun Slut. My son drives past it every day, and there is one near where he lives, so he's probably going to go. How do you tell your girlfriend you want to go to Bun Slut and get the extra slut sauce? It's a real thing. Some like Five Guys. We got one 2 miles up the road. It's been there for years, and I've never been. Somebody gave me some fries once when I was doing the Honda dealership cleaning, and they were okay, but, I don't need fries. Stay away as often as I can from that kind of carb. Once in a while, you got to have a fry, though. I get it. The burgers, I don't think I've ever had one. I have a feeling they're very homemade. And then what's with these smash burgers? Those of you who like smash burgers, what's the special thing? They're not going to be juicy, right? You've smashed all the juice out of them, correct? So what's the big deal with a smash burger? We are not woke here. What did I mention? I got to think about what I said that inspired that. Taco Bell? Taco Bell is part of the Burger King family, right? You got a Burger King, right? So Rallies is good, but expensive. I've never heard of a Rallies. But what we need here is a rally. We need a rally here with viewers and people participating. I worked at KFC, my first job. Cool. My first job was McDonald's. Well, sort of my first job. My first job lasted 8 days, and that was too much for me. My favorite store in town, but it was too much. And then I went to McDonald's and I was there for years, even working part time when I went to broadcasting school Monday through Thursday in Hartford, Connecticut. I was going to work at the McDonald's in Hartford, but I would have been a regular crew member. Whereas if I come back to Middletown, the assistant manager let me know I could resume my crew chief on the weekends. Crew chief, a lot easier than working the grill or taking customers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I actually first did apply at the Hartford McDonald's, and the very nice manager, he couldn't hire me fast enough, couldn't hire me fast enough. I was the only white guy on the crew, the only white guy. All right, that's fine. But I can't tell you all the homey feeling that I felt at the other McDonald's, which kept me there for years. I wasn't feeling there, and I didn't last a day. I didn't last a day. I said, they've offered me my crew chief job back in well, it's really the town of Wallkill, and I'm gonna take that. And the assistant manager was nice enough to, on Thursday night, after he finished his shift, drive all the way to Hartford, 2 hours, pick me up and drive all the way back. And then on Sunday night after cleanup, take me uh, back to Hartford for my Monday afternoon class and drive all the way back. He actually did that. Checkers is the same company as Rallies. Okay, I've never been to Checkers either, but I've seen plenty of them when I've been in Texas and things like that. Bayou Girl says, hello, Jack and family. Much love to you all. Hugs. Hi, Bayou Girl. Same back at you. I'm feeling a lot better than I felt an hour or two ago. All day long, I felt kind of, a little headachy. Got up too early because I had to make sure I was downstairs for this guy who was picking up this machine where you put your finger in. It's a pulse ox thing, really. And you get a watch. It measures your heart rate and stuff. Well, I have a machine right here that'll tell me what my heart rate is. It's called a BP machine. I know my heart rate's good because I'm on Camzyos. I understand that. These commercials are crazy, Neo. Split screen, says Elaine Peterson. Well, let me know what the final score is if we're still on, which I don't know how long this game is going to last. What's the score of the series? Is it 1-1 or what? I don't know. Andrea is here. That is probably BG, right? I have to decipher these things because people use different names because they're wanted. We might as well just say it. They're wanted people. How do you like my new Tunnel to Towers bag, which I got at the shop, right? On the other side is a football player. I've never heard of him, of course. Someday I'll show you the other side of the bag. But, I won't be displaying that. I'm not a football fan. And the other bag is for people who support Tunnel to Towers, and I'm one of them, have been for about a year and a half now. $15 a month to Tunnel to Towers. I support American Heroes, the great Frank Siller and his organization. They do so much for veterans, for families that, the breadwinner died, the soldier was killed, or the soldier was maimed and now he needs a special kind of a house. So they build special houses, they pay off mortgages for widows, and now they like buy hotels and they turn them into apartments for veterans. It's a great organization. I'd like to help everybody, that's not the only worthy charity, but I'd like to be able to help everybody. Flat gets stronger flavor, but not as juicy. Oh, it gets stronger flavor, those Smash Mouth burgers. Do you listen to Smash Mouth? I left my water on the other side of the room. I may have to grab it at some point. Oy. But for now, it'll be Ricola. Ricola. 38 watching. Please sign in. Let us know who you are, fake name or whatever. So yeah, KFC. Love KFC, by the way, Carmen. Love the coleslaw. I assume everything is the same there. Or do you have things on the menu there that we wouldn't have here, like a kangaroo burger? I know you may not have kangaroos in New Zealand. Ice burger. But oh yes, I love my KFC from time to time. My first job when I was a teenager, we do have a Starbucks too. Okay. I'm trying to still slowly like coffee. I had a few sips of Karen's coffee when we were in Wildwood, New Jersey. I'll talk more about that tonight. And Jack, you are so funny. I have a blood pressure machine on my desk. Well, at least you're not throwing caution totally to the wind, Elaine Bain. Yeah, I got it right here. Got it right here. I just took my blood pressure. Looking good. Looking good. And so I did this thing last night where, not last night, the night before, where I wore like what looks like an Apple Watch. And attached to that is the device, the pulse ox thing. Also shows your heart rate. And okay. I might have said this in the pop on to pop off. I'm looking at the paperwork in detail because I missed things the first time around, and it is for a John, and that is my real name. But the last name, nothing like me, and the guy lives on. Are you ready for this? 4 Disco Drive. Now that's out in Scotchtown. I found out. I have lived in this area for many years, along with living in California and South Carolina, even Montreal, Canada for a little while. I never knew of a Disco Drive. So Karen Googled it, and there's, of course, a picture of the house. And standing out there is got to be John, who probably has all my personal information, and I have all his personal information. So the manager was very apologetic. We just had a little mix up there. So he came personally this morning and picked up the machine. I signed the proper paper. And he assures me that what's on my machine will be attributed to my name. I don't want to have to do this a second time. So, yeah. Who else is there? Brenda is here. Hi, Brenda Noyce from Detroit Motor City, joining us as well. Yeah, we're getting our core, some of our core people, but we're not getting new people. And we're not getting all, of course, of our core people for sure. Teresa Pinnell, I said, she's talking about Buc-ee's. Guess I'm going to see you down in Franklin, Tennessee, huh? As I talked about on the Pop On. Was it the Pop On that I did it? Or was it from the pool, the green pool that nobody could swim in at the Oceanic Hotel in Wildwood? I had a change of heart with Karen's permission because she's not going to have any surgery till at least late July. She says, you really want to do this. I can tell that it's an opportunity of a lifetime. I can't travel that long. You're talking about going in a car now because I don't want to take a Greyhound bus and get no sleep, with who knows what kind of characters making noise in the back. maybe trying to rob me. You think of all these things, might as well be honest. And they wouldn't have to try to rob me; they'd rob me. So why don't you send an email and say that you've changed your mind and see if it's not too late? And thank God it's not too late. And so I will be going to see Pastor Bob Joyce in Franklin, Tennessee, both for the Thursday meet and greet and the Friday concert, which is completely sold out now. Completely sold out. There was only 300 seats available and sold out. There'll be one later this year near an airport. That's all I can tell you. I don't know the venue. The venue in Cabot, Maine. Why do I do that? I don't know. Cabot, Arkansas was a very big church, and they didn't quite sell it out because it was graduation week. There was a balcony, not in use. It seemed that way to me, and a few seats in the back, I'm told. But there were a lot of people there. There were a lot of people there. It was a perfect place. I think things change a little different when you're in a church setting. He didn't pick up the guitar. Did he do a meet and greet? I don't know that he did. I never saw it. I listed if he did. The price was reasonable. Obviously, it was not that far from the church, so you have to consider that as well as to how many you're going to draw. You're going to be really looking for a lot of people to come from out of town. I think he was more loose when he was at the theater. Well, it wasn't a theater. It was like a place where they hold weddings and anniversary parties. A beautiful place in Coleman, Alabama. I think he was a little more loose there. And there was a meet and greet the night before and what have you. So, but yeah, of course, the price is going to be higher. The price is going to be higher. You're dealing with a 9-person camera crew that is going to film the event. They have to be paid, and a CD is going to be recorded. So we've been asking you, and I'll go to that video for some of the suggestions that already have been written on the thread. What song would you like Pastor Bob to sing? We'll also hear some Pastor Bob preach, just a fair use clip. I'm not stealing any Pastor Bob Joyce material, just using what is allowed, which is a fair use clip. And we'll talk about Barry Manilow's in serious trouble. He's got a dilemma that's coming up very soon too. So we're about 28 minutes in. And we'll get to content at the bottom of the hour. Lana Dye is here. Hi, Jack. It's been a while since I was able to join live. I know you had some issues, right? I was able to attend the Cabot benefit. Pastor Bob did not do a meet and greet for the benefit concert. Yeah. It would have been a lot of people because it was a big church, but nevertheless, you got to do it really the day before. You can't wear him out. You can't wear him out like that. I think it's a very good idea doing it the day before. I don't know. I'd only be speculating if the church didn't want him to do it, or if he didn't want to do it, or what, because of the volume of people potentially. I don't know. I don't think it takes the focus off of Jesus for Pastor Bob to have a meet and greet. That's my personal opinion. And yes, like all those other pastors on TV, he doesn't have a book. We're waiting for that book. We want that book. But also, he's got lots of CDs and other things that they have. But you can't buy the bobblehead. You can only get it in Franklin, Tennessee. Only 400. That's what they're saying now. Only 400 will be made, and they've already been made. Gene Thomas joins us. Hello, Jack. You're keeping well. God bless. Well, God bless you. Thank you, Gene Thomas. And see you in 36 days. Oh, you've actually figured it out mathematically, huh? Yeah, it'll come fast. Going to the Happy Together tour on the 17th of June in Albany. Going to the dentist on the 16th. Um, so I'm looking forward to that, but I'm certainly looking forward to Franklin, Tennessee. Is there any chance that I could get the fever in Franklin, Tennessee at the concert and say, I'm going to make the 5-hour drive up to House of Faith? I want to, but that would give me 10 more hours of driving, you know? That's a lot, folks. That's a lot. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, you want me to do Barry Manilow first, Carmen? It's the bottom of the hour. I will do Barry Manilow first, just for you there in New Zealand. Let's go to that clip. Barry Manilow is scheduled to open. He's had to cancel time and time again because, you know, the doctor said, you're not ready, Barry. He had throat cancer surgery. You're not ready to do a big stint. Eventually, a 1 or 2 nighter, but at that point, and this was back in maybe early May, you're just not ready to do it. So about a week ago, Barry Manilow held his first rehearsal with the band. And you can hear him as he talks. He doesn't sound right. He doesn't sound right, and he was not happy with his vocal performance singing those songs. He said when he finished, he looked over at the band, and they were all staring down at the floor. They had all become, with a sad look on their face, like they'd all become very interested in the pattern of the floor. So he has no idea whether the voice is going to come back the way he wants it to. And you can hear it when he talks. Here is the legendary Barry Manilow talking about this situation he's in.
My voice, I don't know whether it's coming back. I did my first sound check about a month ago, and I didn't sound like me at all. I just couldn't believe that it's over. That is really upsetting because I don't want to stop.
Barry, who turns 83 this month, says he's struggling to regain his iconic voice 6 months after doctors removed a cancerous section of his left lung.
They checked my lungs and they found the dot, the spot, that thing that you don't want to ever have. They said I had lung cancer and we have to get it out.
The surgery was a success, but Barry tells GMA his recovery took a frightening turn when he developed pneumonia.
I was in ICU for 7 days. It was terrifying. There was a couple of moments there that I thought, you know, this may be goodbye. I could cry so hard.
I don't want to be playing copyrighted music. That can ruin things quick. But there you go. That's how he sounds. And I think it's June 25th, something like that. He opens in Las Vegas. And I'm sure he's doing everything with all the professionals he can to get that voice back better than that. Heck, guys, I've seen a lot of singers over the years that were in their 70s and 80s, and they didn't begin to sound like they used to, you know. Rob Grill, God rest his soul, former lead singer. Well, of course, he's the former lead singer of the Grassroots because he passed away. Lead singer of the Grassroots. I saw him. He didn't sound like he used to. Wayne Newton can sound, it's a mix. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Tom Jones, yeah, he's right there on the money. He's right there on the money. I mean, is it a little different? It's not as young as it is when he first sang about murdering his girlfriend at the front door. Delilah, but it's good, and he's on tour. Tom Jones has got an extensive tour this summer. John Davidson, remember him, the game show host, and also someone who's sung all his career. He has a place called Club Sandwich. It's pretty small, and he does shows from like June through August, and he sounds pretty good. He kind of still looks like John Davidson, only with white hair. Um, Saw Steven Still sing a number of years ago. He hit a note that was so far off key. You either can sing or you can't. Dylan doesn't sound like he used to. He just doesn't. They use tricks to boost the vocal power. I think Billy Joel has been using that. Will he return to the stage and what have you? Elton John sounded different after his vocal surgery. He did, but it was good. But in terms of him screaming, Benny, 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 no, he couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So some singers are just fortunate that they keep their pipes until they stop singing. Um, Frankie Valli announced that he's finished, although he says he hopes to come back. That's the human spirit right there. People have been telling him for a year now, Frankie, it's time to stop. We know that sometimes you're not even singing, that it's a track. Don't milli vanilli us. You are an iconic legend. There'll only ever be one Frankie Valli. Stop when you need to. You've done it. You've done it. I mean, I saw him in 2005 maybe at the Borgata in Atlantic City, and in his 70s then, and he was talking like, oh, hey, if you ever read something in the paper or hear it on the news, don't feel bad for me. I've had a wonderful life. Sounded like then he was wrapping things up, and he sounded great. And 20 years later, he's still singing, but it's not working anymore. It's not working. So that's the story, Carmen, about Barry Manilow. He's desperately trying to get his voice back. I just sung There's a Kind of Hush. I'm happy with it. Good. That is always the closing song for Peter Noone. We've seen him twice, and he always closes with that one. And as they're continuing to go da 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 da, he starts going towards the back for his meet and greet. Doesn't cost anything for his meet and greet because he's hawking that merchandise. He gonna sign, he'll smile and what have you. He'll take a picture. And he makes a lot of money doing that, so he's not going to stop. I don't know. He lives in Malibu, not Malibu. He lives in Santa Barbara, and I often wonder, does he really need to do this at 78 years old to the extent that he does? You see him at home licking the envelopes to the music sheets he signed and is mailing out. He's going to go to the post office himself. He drives a lot. I mean, they fly. But sometimes he was talking about driving all night to a gig. Peter Noone. How does the band? They must be driving the van and the instruments and stuff like that. They got one of those things they pull, I'm sure. So yeah, it's interesting. He doesn't have the big bus, I don't think. An octave or two lower? Well, let's see what happens. I don't know. He's got such a body of work. But There's a Kind of Hush was, I guess, my favorite Peter Noone tune. It was his last hit back in 1969. And, of course, he has about 8 or 9 other hits. 48 watching. Hello. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings. Please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell if you can. That would be swell. If you can, you'll see the ask button there. If you can hit the thanks button. We desperately need to get some revenue coming in. May was, it was probably the lowest month we've had in a long time. I worked hard to get some views, and so we kind of got to kind of the bare minimum in terms of what views per thousand. But you can look at this. You can look at the list of videos and look at the views, and you can see all the times I missed in the month of May, even though I was trying hard. I've got someone out there that's oversaturating the topic. and not getting many views doing it. But of course, there's another way, and I'm not ever myself going to do that. Um, Most people would copyright strike you if you did that, and I can understand that. Nana said Engelbert Humperdinck is still good. Yeah, yeah, I saw him singing After the Lovin'. It was like he was in his house or something, but yet he had a professional mic and what have you. The look, I mean, my goodness, he's got the perfect brown hair color that looks almost exactly like it did when it was real, you know? He's gone through various stages of cheaper, well, I won't say cheaper, but the wrong hair color or letting it go white doesn't look good with white. But man, when he's got that brown salon, it's not like he's doing it like I do, and I'm due. But tomorrow I'm seeing Vito Yazzo, my hair guy, at 2 o'clock. Get a trim here, and then I might find my magic bottle. I'll hop aboard the magic bus and my employ the use of my magic bottle. Some people look good with white hair, some people don't. So please subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. Please hit the thanks button if you can for any amount. No amount is too small. If it's a very large amount, though, the Cash App is a better deal. So let's go over and see about that. And look at that. Look at that right there. Elaine Peterson hits the Cash App. Love tip for $10. Thank you so much, Elaine. You're very faithful. And Tammy with an I. Tammy Griffin hits the Cash App for $25. So we're off to, a decent start. And Cash App, I'll put down here. You don't know how much I hate doing this, but if I don't do it, it's going to get to the point where I'm going to have to, rather than do this, I'll be doing something else, But I'm trying to get the per views up, doing what I can, and I have to fight many different forces that are basically speaking gibberish. Let's see, Cash App. Lowercase letters, Media Guy 56, MEDIAGUY 56. There it is, right there. Appreciate that. Helen McDonald talking to Brenda. Hope you feel better soon. Brenda has many maladies. Nothing wrong with a skinny Santa, Neo. Robin Roman joins us. Hello, Jack and everyone. Hi, Robin Roman. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings. We were off last week. We're back here on the 3rd of June. Of course, we popped on. Check out those videos, please. I think I've acknowledged everyone that has signed in. Not everybody has. Please do let us know where you're watching from, you newbies. Oh, okay, I got Lana Dye. She's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we mentioned Gene Thomas is here as well. So let's go to the channel. New Bob Joyce info. We speak in that video about the Franklin, Tennessee concert is sold out. Sold out. I'm sorry that I told you tickets went on sale before they actually did. Very good people give me the best information they have. And in this case, it turned out to be premature. But they're good people, and they give me a lot of good content. And they went on later. So people said, well, we went on, and they're not selling tickets yet. And they're not answering the phone either. So anyway, now, It's all done. It's all wrapped up. The tickets have been sold. If someone tries to scam you that they have tickets, um, don't believe them unless it's somebody you know, like you know your own brother. For some of you, if they were like your own brother, you would definitely not trust them. So let's see here. We did a video which is not doing what I hoped. See, this is the struggle, you know, when you have oversaturation and what have you. It hurts everybody. But he sang. That's me there in this video. Bob Joyce, what song do you want him to sing in concert? Referring, of course, to Franklin, Tennessee. I can't see your comments right now when I'm on another screen, but I'll get back there. Keep in mind that he's recording a CD. So it's going to be fresh material, and anything else that he did would be just to please the audience. He thinks they want to hear it or what have you. But he's focused on a CD, and we'll probably do a few tunes that you won't hear on that CD because he's already done them, you know, that kind of thing. So I say right at the beginning in a pinned comment that Pastor Bob will be looking to do a fresh set list because a new CD will be recorded. So American Trilogy is unlikely. He sang that in Cabot, Arkansas, and he sang that in Coleman, Alabama. So I don't know unless he does it once they've got the CD recorded and he does it as an encore. I told you here that the one I would love to hear him sing as his final song of the night, To My Wife, is Unchained Melody. That would be an outstanding moment. And I know Pastor Bob Joyce knows how to leave a crowd astounded. Astounded. So maybe, I don't know if Miss Walina will be there. I hope so. I think the producers of the documentary are going to be there. Don't have a release date or a source as to where it's going to be yet. But are they going to record any of this and add it? I don't know. But they are scheduled to be there. So I should be meeting them. Brenda, who likes to comment, one comment per line. You know, she doesn't put it all in one. So you will get a clogged up thread, Brenda, because instead of just putting it all in one paragraph, you go one at a time, which I wish you wouldn't do. I can't count how many. Jay Pogera, I know you'll be here live or in the replay, mentioned The Wonder of You. Yeah, it's a great song. Now, a number of you mentioned songs for some reason of that fella that had a lot of hits to about 1970 something, and then the hits stopped for him. Elvis Presley, isn't it? Elvis Presley, yes. A lot of people of you must think Pastor Bob loves Elvis Presley or something, and he did sing Can't Help Falling in Love with You, and he did sing The Wonder of You in the sanctuary at a luncheon not after the church service, but I think after a church luncheon the same day. And so he has sung both those songs, and each time he said for his wife, Walina. So I say, do that again, Unchained Melody. Leave them with their mouths open, and then they turn to each other in shock as you leave the stage because you've already said your goodbyes and prayers before that. And they'll say, when is the next concert? Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah. He's not going to sing Now or Never because that's not a positive song. It's a song that Elvis would sing, but you could interpret it as to be kind of like that Gary Puckett song, Lady Willpower, it's now or never, give your love to me. By the way, Gary Puckett is very much a born again Christian now, but he still has to sing Lady Willpower. It's his opening song, and I'll see him do it on the 17th in Albany, the 17th of this month. He's part of that soiree. We're still on the Brenda comments, gang. We got 5 or 6 now. Amazing Grace is a possibility. Teresa Pinnell wants American Trilogy. A lot of people did. If I Can Dream is the song that others mentioned, including Brenda. BG wants American Trilogy. Joseph. Lerner. I don't know if you gave me an actual song title. Let's see here. Again, American Trilogy from Chantel. Hi, Chantel, up in Canada. Another Pam, not Pam Spam. Pam Lau. Oh, boy. Oh, no, it's Pamela Lower. American Trilogy. Number 1. Robin Roman, American Trilogy. Deborah McGinty, American Trilogy. Bet, American Trilogy, On-Chain Melody, Bridge Over Troubled Waters. A few people said Bridge Over Troubled Waters. I think that's an excellent choice. Excellent, positive. It's got to be positive. He's not going to sing something that's not positive. If I Can Dream, says Tammy with an I. And Promised Land, yes. Brenda Bartlett. Bob Joyce should sing Elvis Presley, Suspicious Minds. Few people said that. He won't. We know he won't, right? We understand that. Because the next person said the same thing. Or is that you saying it twice, Brenda? Not you, Brenda Noyce. When You Walk Through a Storm, I think he did that in Cabot. He did that in Cabot, Arkansas. But he didn't record it for a CD, so that's a possibility. Peace in the Valley, says Dina. Hi, Dina. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings if you're watching the replay or live. Jerry Bridges, which is not really Jerry Bridges. That's the hubby, right? God Bless the USA. It's a good choice. It's a very possible song for the patriotic songs he's going to do. Katina, Team SWAT. Chris and Katina Swatsworth. Katina says, I'm with you, Jack. On-Chain Melody. I'm sure it would sound beautiful. Okay, I think Joseph finally gave us a song. If I Can Dream, yes. The other stuff you're saying, I have no idea. JFK, RFK, what more do we have to say? You know what I mean? You gave me a mountain. Excellent choice, Nancy DeMarco. That Elvis chap used to sing that a lot. This time you gave me a mountain. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, he doesn't do it like that, but you get the idea. He does it cool, not like I just did it. Hello, what's Bob's parents' names on his birth certificate? It's that guy again, or Richard. I think we've been through this. Richard. This is Robert Wayne Joyce. Does he look like the man who preaches every Sunday at Household of Faith? So your backdoor attempt to try to make a point once again falls flat. Frank Chandler said, Let It Be. Are you talking about the Beatles song? Right? Let It Be Me by the Everly Brothers. That would be nice. Bob is not Catholic, and he knows that a lot of people think that Paul McCartney was singing about Mother Mary, the Virgin Mary. And actually, Paul McCartney was singing about his mother, Mary, his mom, his mum. That's who he was singing about. I'm not anti Catholic. I believe some different things. And I'm raised Catholic, love the Mass, love the liturgy. I do see a scripture you could use certainly for confession and what have you. I don't want to open up a ball of wax, but he ain't doing Let It Be. American Trilogy says Cajun Calvin, and Beverly Ashby says that as well, as does Smitty. So American Trilogy, also Lana Dye said that, and a bunch others. So American Trilogy is number one. So he could do that, probably not for the CD, but as an extra. But so that's what we got. We got 500 views, not enough, and 511 views, and we got 44 comments. Still time in that video or here for you to put your song choice, okay? And back we go to the live stream where I can see you. Anything you said recently, I did not catch. Remember, when it's a swing and a miss, Neo, I will not say it. Nan said, welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in? See, the thing is, will he do any secular songs? I'm of the opinion, this is just my opinion, it's his show, I think he should. The human love experience is something that is a gift from God. It's us that would abuse it and turn it into something either perverse or sinful, however you want to say it. But it's a gift from God. Sex is a gift from God. He just has rules, He has rules. You say, well, it's got to be a legal marriage. It's got to be, got to be married. Well, what's married? There was no legal marriage in the Bible. But I'm not going to, get too controversial here. Vows before God with a minister present, a man of God present. Yeah, I said it the way I said it. It was good enough for everybody in the Bible. The government came in and used it. And they were unabashed about admitting that the main reason was to create funds for the government. That's true. What else? So I love that song, and he would do a beautiful version of it. And, he should not be at a piano or a guitar when he sings it. We need a backup piano player. Where is Glenn Harden when you need him? Show up, Glenn. Show up to rehearsals on Thursday. Let's see here. I hear red onion juice keeps your hair from turning gray. Okay, Elaine, I want you to drink all that red onion juice you can and report back. I've never tried it, though. I'm sure you haven't. I love prawns. Yeah, I've heard of prawns. I've never had a prawn. I don't have an addiction to prawn. You know what I'm saying? Prawn. Now she's starting to get blue on me here. Elaine. CM Trucker joins us. I can only imagine. Good choice. Is that the Mark Lowry song? I know he wrote Mary, Did You Know? Who wrote I Can Only Imagine? Was it also Mark Lowry? I get stuck on that one sometimes. Yeah, it's a good song. I think it should be recognizable songs. Or if it's something that the pastor wrote. People said, oh, listen to what he said at Cabot, Arkansas. He said he doesn't read music. Another clue, he doesn't read music. And the king of rock and roll didn't read music, just like Glenn Campbell. Some of the greats didn't read note music. Um, so a lot of people talk to me about that. Oh, look at that! He said he doesn't read music. Yeah. Um, by the way, I'm going to show you the thumbnail will be a lovely, rare picture of Elvis Presley on the Russell Stover's Valentine's heart box. I'll show you, but it'll be a better picture that you'll see in the thumbnail. And I'll tell you about that, how I came to take that picture and one other picture of Elvis Presley in a museum down in Wildwood, New Jersey. He's the lily of the valley. Yeah, it's a good one. Give Me Jesus. Has he recorded that song on a CD? He must have. He must have by now, because he says that's the song he sings most in the sanctuary. Give Me Jesus. Ads are making me turn green. Well, that means you're going to get you won't like Carmen when she's angry. I'm telling you right now, you won't like Carmen when she's angry. She's much better as mild-mannered Davina Bannon. I have a chocolate Elvis CD. Well, I wouldn't eat it if I were you. Wow, that's cool. When do you think they made that chocolate? When was that produced? Just looking back here. So you guys are coming up with some very good songs and a few that are no way. Someone said My Way. No, it's got to be God's Way. Elvis covered that. Well, it's a Paul Anka song given to Frank Sinatra, and of course, Paul did it himself, and others did. But it's Frank's song. We get that. But he talks about doing it his way, not the one of one who kneels. Remember that lyric? No way Bob Joyce is going to sing that lyric. No way. Because he is a man that kneels. He is a man that kneels. I go to a professional hairdresser. Well, so do I. Vito is a professional, and he owns the joint. Him and his lovely wife, Jessica, own the joint. And she's a great therapist. Yeah, I've chewed the fat with Vito myself, and he's shared things with me. So there is that bartender element to it. And of course, Vito, haven't seen him here in a dog's age, but he is a wonderful singer. And you can go to Vito Yazzo's channel here at YouTube and subscribe, hit the notification bell. He sings a lot of Elvis tunes. No, he does not believe Bob Joyce is Elvis, even though he told me early on some guy who said his name was Bob Joyce said to him that I really like the way you do my early stuff. That's what he said. Whether that was the Bob Joyce or someone trying to find out if Vito knew about what they say about Pastor Bob Joyce, I do not know, but I throw that out there. Good evening, Karen Mullins. Hi, Jack. Have you ever heard Elvis sing how great thou art? Sure. No one can outdo him in anything. Of course, he's getting on in years. Should he be alive? I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong about the whole thing. No one can outdo him in anything. If you go to Franklin, Memphis is only a 3-hour drive. I know, but there's so much money in the budget, and I have to be careful. If I had to choose between going to Household of Faith and going to Graceland, I would pick Household of Faith. Have you been to Graceland? Karen should go. I can't get her that far unless we fly. And right now, she does need a procedure, a surgical procedure, and she's not going to do anything to. She gets that and is recovered from that beyond a few hours riding the car, that kind of thing. Um, it was just about 4 hours, definitely 4 hours coming back because we ran into some traffic. Polka Sean and Polka Norma came up during rush hour to Wildwood, New Jersey, and they took them a while, well past 4 hours. But we had pretty much smooth sailing. I was very happy with my driving skills, no mistakes. Didn't feel any cognitive decline at all. I feel I'm going to claim this in Jesus' name. I ask God to heal me from anything that might be going on, and I claim that healing in the name of Jesus Christ, who has given me more grace than I ever deserved. And I claim that for another person here, and I've prayed just that. Complete healing. I put my hands on my head as I say it, and I pray for you. And I say, please heal her from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. Take all her symptoms away, all of the disease away. You are the great physician, and Lord, I believe you can do it. You have to believe it too. It's a double deal. Hi, Jack. Have you ever heard Elvis sing "How Great Thou Art"? Yes. And so, I would like to see Graceland. It's not one of those biting things. I'm not that kind of Elvis fan. I wish I had seen him in concert, though. Here's Gloria Drummond. Yes, how great thou art, no doubt. Yeah. But that's on a CD, right? You got to think he's recording a CD, so that's going to be his top priority. And that means he's going to have to stop songs halfway through and say, we got to do it again, because that's what you do, just like you do when you're doing a live television show before a studio audience. You can't just make them. Dark Shadows kept going unless it was somebody fell down the stairs or something. So there's some very funny bloopers in the 4 years of Dark Shadows. 4 years. And there are lots of blooper reels. But when you're recording, just like if he were in the studio doing a CD in the studio, all the music, he already did his part musically, and everybody else. Now he's got the headphones on, right? He's got the headphones on. He's looking at the music in front of him, and he's going to do as many takes as he has to get it as perfect as he can get it. And it's the same thing when you're doing a live studio album. It is true that people like mistakes. When Michael Jackson early on in recording with the Jackson 5 made a mathematical mistake in a song, he stopped. And was it Quincy Jones, right? Or is it the other one? I always confuse these two. I said, why'd you stop, Michael? And he said, well, I made a mistake. He said, people love those mistakes. I'll decide whether the mistake stays in or we have to do it again. You just keep going. I'll decide what to do. So from that point on, Michael knew not to stop if he felt he had made a mistake. Jack, praying for your healing. Thank you very much, Lana Dye. Well, that's what we do here. We pray for other people. I'm not too thrilled about some of today's music as well. And I just don't listen, I just don't listen. Jack, thank you for your prayers. I claim being healed. Everybody, pray for Carolyn Mullins, and put your hands on your head. If you believe in Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, put your hands on your head as you pray for Carolyn Mullins, that she has a complete healing. Amen, amen, amen. I believe he can do it. You have to believe that. He chooses when he heals. That's the thing that we don't understand. but someone said he doesn't respond to need. I thought this was very good. He doesn't respond to need. He responds to faith. When you believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, you will be saved from an eternity of separation from him. And the great news is it's the Holy Spirit that gives you the faith, right? That gives you the faith. You just have to be listening and tap into it. Jack, how old is Elvis Presley? I only know, what was it, Jason Priestley from what was that show that Jason Priestley was in? Nan says he's 91 years old. That's what he would be if he was still alive. He would be 91 years old if he was or is still alive. Hi, Nan. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings. You're down there in Australia. What does Nan like to do in Australia? What's for fun? Well, look at that. In Taxi Cab Yellow, the first person to hit the thanks button tonight, and it's often someone who does it frequently, Miles Wright. We know Miles and Judy Wright. His wife, $9.99 on the thanks button. Thank you very, very much for getting us started. I hope there'll be more, but I am so glad. And if it were $1.99 or even 99 cents, I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that because it all adds up at the end of the month, you know. Thank you very much, Miles Wright, for $9.99 on, I guess it's you hit the ask button, which leads to the thanks button. I need more of you. It would be a blessing. I can't get into a podiatrist until September. What the halibut? Yeah, I'm just here for the halibut. What the halibut? Oh, well, come and see Dr. Ofskovsky. He's a little better than that. But it is funny. You know why it's so busy, Elaine? Because if you're on Medicare, you have the right to have your nails cut every 3 months, I think it is. Every 2 or 3 months. I wait 3 to 4 months, and I go see Dr. Ofskovsky, and he does that for me. It used to be Karen that did it for me, to be honest. And I've done it myself, but I do a lousy job. So, yeah, well, neurologist, a very long time sometimes. I told you guys, well, I won't go into that story because I know where it'll lead. Forget that story. But next week, I'm seeing a hematologist because something in the blood was just a little off, but not much. He's also an oncologist, a combo. And I thought, that's good. Maybe he'll do the cancer blood work that I haven't had in years. Just to be sure. And dermatologist next week. I'm covering it up with makeup, but I have definitely a problem with breakout. And so the hematologist, the dermatologist, then Karen's got a couple of things. Friday, she's got to go back to Dr. Damashella. Those pain shots don't work for very long, it seems. Oh, Neo. Our director of puns. I didn't say you were very punny. I said director of puns. Loved Herman's Hermits. Yeah, well, there's 2 versions of them now, Gloria. There's the chaps from England with maybe 1 or 2 original members and a younger guy singing the songs. I didn't think they could do that because Peter Noon says, Herman's Hermits starring Peter Noon. That's how he bills himself. So there's 2 versions of them. There's 2 versions of the Fortunes. My friend Mike Candido is in one version of the Fortunes, but not the version I'm apparently going to see in Albany. It's coming out to sing 4 songs in June. Here comes that rainy day feeling again. You got your troubles, I got mine. Those are their 2 hits. That's it. How are they going to fill 4 songs? Um, Elaine Peterson is wanting me to torture myself. I sure won't fly. You're a non-flyer too, huh? Karen's a flyer. She would fly to the Galleria if she could, you know. But I know a lot of people that don't like to fly. I'm, somewhere in the middle. It's just such a hassle. The flights are often early. You got to be there hours early. You got to have the enhanced driver's license. You got to deal with the checkpoints. It's going to probably be you got to change planes and do the whole thing. Well, not you don't have to go through the security again. You got to change planes either in Chicago or Atlanta, Georgia. That's from my neck of the woods, one of those two places. And the bus that I was looking into to get to Franklin, Tennessee, get on one bus at Port Authority and take you up to Pittsburgh, PA. And then you got an hour or so there waiting late night. And then you take a bus to Columbus, Ohio. And then finally Columbus, Ohio to Nashville. And then you got to take an Uber over to Franklin, Same thing if you're coming in via the airport, or rent a car. They don't really care if you don't use many miles because they're making the most money on you. They'll say unlimited miles, but it's such and such a day, Let's watch our language, Elaine. This is a PG show. And you're talking to a woman who has a Christian channel. And stop smoking pot. Now, what else do I have to say? I will not comply, period, says Elaine Peterson. Not talking about me, but her experiences, I think. Do you suggest I go, or should I wait for the med beds? What are you doing again, Elaine? I forgot already. People say the med beds are already here. I can't find any proof of that. So I suggest you go. You're talking about the foot doctor. Yeah. Don't worry. It's not like you're having open heart surgery or something. I think you've already been beamed up a time or two. So before I play some Bob Joyce preaching to center us, a couple of nights ago, I didn't have my camera in hand, and I had to go back next door to get my Xanax and brought my laundry over. So when they would come in the next morning, my big bag of laundry would be sitting there, and Eddie would say to Karen, I think the laundry fairy was here overnight. It's nice having someone finally do my laundry, We were hauling it to the laundromat for years here. At first, when I moved in here, the washer and dryer worked, and then they both went on the fritz. And we went for years without one, and now we have a brand new washer and dryer, thanks to Andy. So we're appreciative of that. But it's nice when you hit 7-0, people say, well, we got to do more for him now, and that feels nice. But I'm still able to drive very well and what have you. I used to have credit cards. I gave them up. I have one. I have my Prime card. That's it. my Amazon Prime card. So thank you, Miles, for hitting the cash for the thanks button. Thanks button is right down there. Please hit it. I would appreciate that very much for any amount. You can also use a debit card, by the way. You can also use a debit card there. Let's see. And what else? All right, let's go to no, not that one. Let's go to bobjoyce.org. As we go to bobjoyce.org, we see in bold letters, Bob Joyce concert sold out July 10th, 2026, Franklin, Tennessee. Bob will be at the Franklin Theater for the One Nation Under God concert in Franklin, Tennessee on Friday, July 10th. Proceeds from the ticket sales will be used to create a live album of the event. Don't forget, 9 cameras in play, too. They're filming as well. And tickets went on sale June 1st. I was told they were going to go on sale earlier. I'm sorry for the error there, but I hope everyone got one that wanted one and could afford one. Tickets are sold out. Please be cautious of anyone claiming to sell tickets privately. Tickets are only authentic through the Franklin Theater. The Franklin Theater. Pastor Bob's sermon from May 31st, a couple of days ago, was entitled Never Disappointed. Let's just hear a fair use excerpt. We don't take the content and use it in its entirety here, whether it be a song or a whole video. We don't do that. It's not the right thing to do. It's certainly not a godly thing to do. And so let's listen to the great Word of God as God uses Pastor Bob Joyce to deliver it.
If you really want to know about God, first of all, if you really want to know the truth about God,
Amen.
The word pleased. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. I've preached on this before, but I felt like today I need to bring it up again. Some other points I want to make. Without faith, it's impossible to please Him. We're thinking in our own English way of thinking. The word please means to make you like what I'm doing, you know, that I'm pleased with you. But actually, the word please there in Hebrews means to walk with, to be in agreement with. Without faith, then, it is impossible to walk with or to be in agreement with the truth. Amen? So what was it that Enoch did? Something so super spectacular. He lived in a world of giants and corruption. He lived in the world that, like you and I, have never known before. The world was full of evil and corruption and devastation. It was.
Okay, thank you, Nancy DeMarco. How stupid can I be, folks? I wanted to put the mic down so if I needed to cough or what have you, you wouldn't hear that. But obviously, when I put the mic down, that meant you couldn't hear Pastor Bob. So the spirit of Kamala came on me. And that's such a good sermon. It's one of his best that I feel like I don't want to cheat you from hearing it. The excerpt, just the excerpt. The idea is you play an excerpt of something so that people will want to go to the source to hear the whole thing. So there you go. Lana Dye hits the thanks button despite my stupidity for 1999. Thank you very much, Lana Dye, for doing that. I appreciate that. You joined Miles Wright as you're our second person to hit the thanks button tonight. Any amount is welcome. The thanks button is you press the ask and then you find the thanks button. Thank you, Lana Dye. Now let's go back. That is, let me just see what else. Yeah, okay. Song selections are still being made. So let's go back. That was so good. It's one of the best sermons I've ever heard him preach. At least when I say that, what I'm really saying is that spoke to me more than any sermon that I can think of. And I hate for you to miss that. So this won't be exactly smooth coming in, but I want you to hear that.
Very simple, reasonable to understand. If there's something that you want to know about, what do? You research, don't you? Something you want to know how to do, you get somebody to teach you, show you. Or you read books, or you have a teacher. If you're looking for something and you need help, there's someone there, somewhere, can help you. But you're putting everything that you have into it. You're spending the time to do that. When we come to God, why are we coming to God? We want to understand more about Him, want to find out about God. If there is any interest in you at all to know about God, to know more about God, then you began to search. To the Jewish mind, that was a very reasonable and foremost thing to do, was to search out what the scriptures and the law had said. If you really want to know the truth, I like what somebody posted on the internet. I saw a day or two ago. Johnny Cash made a statement. Anybody who is in search of the truth ends up at Christ. Now, when we say he that comes to God, diligently seek him, maybe one of the first things that come to my mind when I read that scripture over and over again throughout my lifetime is prayer. But it's not necessarily just prayer by itself. Prayer, of course, is part of everything that has to do with us and God, but it's not just talking about when you're praying. It's talking about your life, your lifetime, and what you think, how your mind runs, and what you're thinking about everything, about God, about the truth. If you really want to know about God, first of all, if you really want to know the truth about God, then first of all, he says you must believe that he is. Now, if you didn't really believe that God is, what in the world are you searching for anyway? But if something inside you, if there is an inkling, if there is something moving you to find out more about God, the Bible teaches us, for by grace are you saved through faith, that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God.
Pastor Bob Joyce from a sermon. I recommend you go to bobjoyce.org and hear the whole thing. Bob Joyce never disappointed, from this past Sunday, May 31st, 2026. We heard some of the what's to follow, but then when I turned the mic down, you couldn't hear it, and I apologize for that. Can't believe I did that, but that's just the way it is. So if the things of God matter to you, you're going to care about them a lot. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect and always choose the right way and what have you. That's a process, and a lot of people die in that process. Failure, the as Bob Carlyle wrote, the children of God are just the people who fall down but then get up. So if you really love God and you are interested in him and you are seeking him, You'll want to know what his will is. I believe that's found in the Bible. I believe in divine inspiration. Um, I don't believe God is the author of confusion. Everything he wanted to be in the Bible, I believe is in the Bible. That's what I believe. I have to be honest and share that. Once you throw out divine inspiration and God having the capability of putting the hammer down on someone who's leaving something out or putting something in that shouldn't be there, then he's an incompetent God, and he's not an incompetent God. He is not the author of confusion, the scripture tells us. So that's what I believe. I have to state what I believe, you know. So that's where we're at. You're either born again or you're pretending. And God looks at the heart and he knows. If you're pretending, it doesn't matter what you say, it's what's in your heart. And of course, our actions. I love what Pastor Bob said. But if you have a real interest in God, if you're really searching and you're willing to do things his way, that means that you're saved. That means that you're born of God's Spirit. Slogans and random cheers of encouragement or cheers of affirmation, if you will, they don't really mean a whole lot. So there we are. Anybody else new join us? That's what they say, Carolyn Mullins. Everything has a purpose. It's a tough road because a lot of people just want to, you know, kind of I won't say the word conversate because that word never existed when I was a kid or when I was 40 or 50. Somewhere along the line, the word conversate came in. And I don't know that it's a real word. Just like irregardless is not a real word. It's regardless. Regardless. You don't have to put the er there, as Senator Ted Kennedy often did, by the way. So, you know, a live show is basically for general chit chat talk. So when I do 3 minutes of politics that I'm going to do now, you know, just chat like you're doing. It may not be for you, or this may be time to go get yourself a cold drink, whatever. But since, you know, you kind of want to timestamp the times we live in, and I haven't put any thought into this, it's just going to be off the top of my head. I'll do that now and get that out of the way. But I highly recommend that you go to bobjoyce.org and hear that sermon from Pastor Bob, one of the best he's ever preached, I do believe. So we had the California primaries. There was one in Iowa and where else? Somewhere else. Nobody cared about those. Everybody was looking at California and how Karen, Mayor Karen, could get any votes at all with the kind of mayor she's been to Los Angeles is beyond me. But that's the kind of world we live in. People just can't ascertain. They think they're going to get more free stuff from Mayor Karen Bass than they're going to get from the other guy who starred in the reality show, Pratt. Pratt may have no experience in government, but he's got some fresh ideas, and he's got his finger on the pulse of what's important to people and what needs to be changed in Los Angeles. And he might turn out to be a great mayor, especially if he surrounds himself with wonderful people. He's going to need that. he's not going to be able to do it without seasoned people. But President Trump didn't have any political experience, but he used his business experience. And in my opinion, it's worked out very well. I just wish he would get this thing over with Iran. I don't think they're ever going to keep their word. We're going to have to do something because the midterm elections are coming. We got to get those gas prices down. When he says, I'm not in a hurry, he scares me. He scares a lot of Republicans because it's the economy. It's the economy that people vote when it comes election day. And we've got to get this going because there's snakes, there's lizards, there's people who hate America surrounding, and many of them are already in office, and they'll do anything they can to stop the Republican agenda. I don't agree with everything in the Republican agenda. I was watching Tucker Carlson a little bit just to see what he's saying. You know, you got to know. I used to love Tucker, and I had to agree with something he was saying, and I did some research on it as well to see if he's right. There is a lot of questions about the way the Palestinian prisoners have been treated in Israel. I'm talking about torturous situations, having to kneel blindfolded for long periods of time, just getting the bare, smallest amount of food and what have you. I've never believed in that. Prisoners need to be treated well and not tortured and not confined. You know, they need some freedom. They need that hour of recreation and what have you, decent, fresh meals and what have you, because we have prisoners too in other countries. We have to be able to say, we treat your prisoners well, treat our prisoners well, and then try to negotiate to get them out of that situation they're in. So you can't be for treating prisoners. I never subscribe to the Dick Cheney view of torture to get information. Don't believe that. I was very disappointed in George W. Bush for signing off on that. Once you become like the enemy, there's no difference. There's no difference. So I hope that Pratt is victorious in this. You know, they'll be running now to November because Karen Bass didn't get anywhere near 50%. I think she's horrendous. She was horrendous when she was in was it the Senate or the Congress? I think she was in the Senate, right? She was horrendous there. She's horrendous now. She needs to go. The guy in Maine, give me a break. Susan Collins is 1,000 times better. She can't be as conservative as some people would like because she would lose her seat. She's been able to maintain the seat but she did vote for Justice Kavanaugh, and you know she's very supportive of President Trump, but sometimes she's had to break away to please the purple people in the state of Maine, and there's more of them because there's more young people, but they can do a lot better than the clown that's running against Susan Collins. Is it Pratner? The names are similar between the mayor's race in California and the Senate race. This guy has got so much baggage, so many terrible things he's done and said that it's, this is an internet world. It's all there, and there's more to be released. There's more to be released. So in one way, you could look at it, he's the perfect candidate to make sure that Susan Collins gets in, but he's got a certain charisma, and people are not necessarily bright when it comes to voting in the elections. There are bright people that do vote, people like me that stood on the line for 3 hours to make sure Kamala Harris didn't get to ruin this country. So that's enough. That's about 3 minutes of politics, and I just hope that we can get Iran behind us. I don't think we can trust them. They're going to try to make money off the Strait of Hormuz. They have no right to. It's international waters. We're going to have to go in again and finish the job. That is my opinion. But God's will be done. He may have a much better idea. God's will be done. So there is that. And apparently the Tennessee Titan has joined us, according to Bayou Girl. I've been off screen so many times playing some Pastor Bob and what have you. And let's see here. Yes, Todd Bradshaw is there saying hello to Elaine. Yes, indeed. Quite the mass there. Oh, the mess. I said mass. Quite the mess there in D.C. I love how Rubio handles these people. He knows how to come right back at them. And he is, in my opinion, Rubio is brilliant. He's a brilliant guy. And he's either going to, well, he's not going to step over Vance. It's going to be Vance Rubio, in my opinion. But again, God may have a whole other, he may have a different choice. I'm really late to the show, but glad I made it to say hi. Hello, Jack. Hello, Tennessee Titan, Mr. Todd Bradshaw. Hope everyone is doing well. Good to see you here. Yeah, I went through agony, Todd. First, I turned down the invitation to come to Franklin, Tennessee. I've been covering Pastor Bob, as you know, since 2018, and there were years when I thought I would be the last person to gain favor. They were very happy when it comes to the issue of those that were attacking Pastor Bob. And I think the word attack is not too strong. They were attacking Pastor Bob, and I came to his defense. I believe Miss Walina liked that. And so these days, obviously, if Pastor Bob, as I said the other day, if he sits on the stoop at Graceland, I'm going to report it. I have to. That's part of the chronological story. If Pastor Bob is sitting on the stoop. But we do a lot of positive stuff. I mean, I just played you an excerpt from his sermon. I think he's preaching a strong word of God. I think he's an excellent shepherd. I think he's an excellent preacher who really loves God. He's the real deal. And so when I was given a gracious offer, I said yes. And then I started to have that spirit of fear. You know what that's like, Todd. God didn't give me a spirit of fear, but I can create it all by myself. It's the same with lust. Lead me not into temptation. Well, I can get there by myself as long as God has given me breath. I can find temptation. I can shut the door of escape. That's how dumb I can be, whether you want to call it dumb or whatever. But I thought Karen was going to need the surgery that she's going to need faster than she's planning on having it. And so I said, I can't be selfish here. I've got to make a right choice. And so I changed my mind and declined the offer. Then Karen said, no, go do it. Write back and say, it's okay. I want you to do this. I know you want to do this. I can't do it. I can't travel that far. You're talking about doing it in a car instead of going to all around the world on a Greyhound bus. You found a way to not have to go through the Beltway because you don't want to do that, the Washington Beltway. So you don't want DC, and neither do I. I don't want anything to do with DC. And so I'm going to go 84 to 81 to 40 and come down to Franklin that way. Don't think I'm doing Household of Faith. That's another 5 hours, meaning 10 hours more, 18 hours back or something like that, 16 hours, whatever it is. That's a whole lot. Yeah, it would be at least 18 hours or more. Because by avoiding the Beltway, it's a little bit longer. It's longer. But it's for my peace of mind. I want to stay far away from that Beltway. And so it's back on. I'll be going to Franklin, Tennessee, and to the Thursday meet and greet on the 9th, and then to the concert at the Franklin Theater tickets are all sold out, as we knew would happen fast because there was only 300 seats, and yet they have a balcony. 9 cameras, CD being recorded. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful experience. So I'm happy about that. Let's see here. Pigs in a blanket. We're talking about pigs in a blanket. That little sausage wrapped in dough. I like Jones sausage myself. Don't give me no banquet sausage or banquet TV dinners. Not for me. So we've talked about a number of things tonight. We talked about Barry Manilow. You can see the replay. Hello, replay crowd. Please subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. If you can hit the thanks button, which I think is beyond the ask button, hit the thanks button for $1, $2, $5, $10, whatever you can do, please do. Or the Cash App, which is lowercase letters Media Guy 56, MEDIAGUY. The number is 56, Media Guy 56, for any amount. That would appreciate it. We have a brand new month here. May was not great, but there were some core people that made it not awful. So we're just trying to keep a very low amount coming in every month here to supplement a retirement that is not as big as I thought it would be. I think I've said this stuff before. I can do without hot dogs. I've had my share of hot dogs. If you watch the hot dog being made, you'd never eat one again, they say. Todd says he's strolling along here, LOL. Hope you're doing well and good to see you. Talking to Bayou Girl. So I think I've said hello to everybody that's there. So it was quite fun down in Wildwood, New Jersey. We booked this a year ago. I couldn't believe how low the rate was, but you learn when you get there why. It's preseason. There, in a week or two, the rate is going to more than double at this very hotel we stayed at. They are redoing the rooms, but they didn't get to ours yet, except the bathroom. The bathroom, just a shower, but very nice, very small. You know, you get what you pay for. Very small. In the room, there was peeling paint at the corner of the room. There was a couple of things, that weren't right. There was a little balcony. You had to fit the chairs sideways. So it was that small, and you could bring those chairs in because there was not one chair or one dresser in the room. There were a couple of shelves, so you could put stuff on. No microwave, but there was a nice refrigerator. We needed that. And then you get down to the pool for the polka party, and Karen's got her swimsuit with her. We didn't put it on. She didn't put it on. I didn't put mine on. I had it, though. And it was Green River by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Green. We didn't ask ourselves, so we were told somebody else had inquired. The line was broken, and so they couldn't get the pool ready. The hot tub was not filled. Same situation. But polka people, they just carry on and have a great time anyway. The bar wasn't open at first. She couldn't get things to work there. The outside bar, that if the pool was working, you can swim up to the tiki bar, they call it. You can swim up to the bar, but none of that was going on. A few kids put their feet in the water and stuff like that. A lot of people were ready to swim, but It was impossible. There was things floating in the water, at one side. I saw a cigar. The first day we looked at the pool, there was half a cigar floating in the water. So, you get a discount rate and what have you. The beach was right across the street. The convention center, it was a veterans convention going on. So there were a lot of veterans to thank. At one point, there were all these young soldiers. I won't say they were marching, but they were walking towards us. And I thanked every one of them. God bless you and what have you. Young people, it's not all bad. The XYZ people, the Z people, and whatever comes after Z, Alpha. There's some great people out there that love this country, and that was very inspiring. The beach, we walked down one time to the water. The water, of course, was cold. Put my feet in the water. I had a video up on that, but I wasn't happy with it, so that's down. And of course, we spent a lot of time on the boardwalk. We took the tram down from the convention center because it's going to take you all the way down the boardwalk, and we spent some time there. There was no live entertainment. Well, there was one. At the first place we ate the first night, there was a guy singing with his guitar. There was that. I couldn't believe how much the ride tickets were. We were there Thursday night as the first night, and only the kiddie rides were open. And I look at the prices of the rides, and here, 82 tickets. I've never seen this in my life. $242 for 82 tickets. Can you imagine if you have a family of 4? You go through that real quick, 82 tickets. $242? We didn't go on any rides. They did open the roller coaster. Never saw the Ferris wheel move. And they had a bungee jump type thing that some very brave people were going on. The food was basically on the boardwalk junk, third-rate pizza, third-rate Mexican, and all the fried stuff. We did get some fried, not fried dough, but the funnel cake with Nestle's chocolate syrup and fresh strawberries on it. We did get that and split that. I've had better. And then we spent the rest of the time at the poker shows. If it wasn't out at the pool, it was inside a bar that was way too small, which was it was on the ground floor. We were 3 flights up above it. So, you don't go to sleep until the band is done at midnight. There's just no way. But that's not hard for us because that's the time we usually go to sleep or later. So you make the best of it. We found a really good bagel place owned by 2 Greek gentlemen that Karen thought were Spanish and spoke to them in Spanish. We're Greek, they said. Karen speaks Spanish. She speaks a little bit of German and one other language. Well, obviously English. But that was with walking distance because we got a really good parking space, handicap parking space. Karen has a handicap sticker. She's got numerous issues. And so we parked right under the building near the pool, the cover of the building. And I said to Karen, we can't move. You got to pay to park everywhere else. You run out and they ticket you. And it's 2 blocks away for the overflow and all that nonsense. And because of the veterans, they blocked off the spaces right across from the hotel. So I said, we're staying, either we'll go somewhere with Polka Sean and Polka Norma, or we'll just have to walk everywhere. You can take a tram once you get up to the boardwalk to bring you down the 2 or 3 miles of boardwalk. And that's what we did. So there you go. Wildwood back in the day was the place where Chubby Checker got his start. A lot of the young artists, the classic artists, were welcomed into Wildwood before they had a slew of hits, and went back to Wildwood in appreciation after they made it. People like Bobby Rydell, who has a song about it, Wildwood Days. Wildwood Days is all about Wildwood, New Jersey. We went to the Doo-Wop Experience Museum. I thought there'd be a lot of things for sale, and there were T-shirts and stuff, but basically it was just vintage furniture. And this is going to be the thumbnail, if I can find it for you. Rare Elvis here. This will be the thumbnail. Elvis Presley, many, many years ago, Valentine's Day time period. And he is on the box of a heart-shaped Russell Stover's candy. Some of you may have never seen this. It's rare. And it was in that museum. That'll be the thumbnail. Pretty cool. And it was this. I had glare on this picture because it was still light outside, but it was an Elvis Presley record. It wouldn't look any better if I rolled it in. It wouldn't look any better because there was glare coming from the outside. Beautiful jukebox, which they are trying to get to work. It's not working right now. It was an 82-year-old lady in there who was more than happy to answer any question you might have. I should have interviewed her. I don't know if it would have got views, but I should have interviewed her. Here's the jukebox. It's not an original. It plays, or it used to play. It's broken. They're trying to get it fixed. It used to play CDs. So it's not an authentic original in the museum, but it's a replica. It's a replica. Anybody have a jukebox? The old-fashioned stove was there. Ah, the 60s living room. There we go. The 60s living room set. Some old Schwinn bicycles. I had a Schwinn. Did you have a Schwinn? And of course, some of those great clock radios, one transistor radio. Things really cool at the Doo-Wop Museum, right down from the convention center in Stove in Graceland, says Neil. Yeah, get that jukebox working. Yeah, there should be, but there are, you can hear music. You can select various parts of tunes as you read through the history. There's videos. You can click on the video and see the history of Wildwood, etc. Swing and a miss with the box of chocolates, Neo. Swing and a miss. Well, lots of people have dirty mouths. Believe me, I've been in broadcasting. I saw some of my fellow disc jockeys who um, had this ability to swear like a sailor and then flip the chair around as the record was ending and turn on that mic, and they became a whole different person because that's broadcasting. They're broadcasting, and so they refrain, of course, from any salty language when they're speaking on the radio. And this is broadcast too, but it's a YouTube channel, and it's geared at a family environment, right? So every once in a while, the word BS comes to mind because something that it fits so well that I find myself using it. But I try not to, because even though on YouTube you can use that, um, it's against what I was taught in broadcasting, and it turns people away. Viewers tune out when they see stuff like that. So. Yeah, I don't care that I don't have a jukebox. I mean, they're pretty to have, but in a duplex, there's no room for it anyway. Good night, Christina. Did I get to talk to Christina? Probably came in when I was, away from the screen and I couldn't see any comments. I'm glad you stopped by, Christina. 43 watching, 44 likes right now here at, it's about, I can tell you, 11:08. The Tennessee Titan returns and hits the Cash App for $30. Thank you so much, Todd Bradshaw, for kitty treats. Yeah, I'll be out there in a few minutes feeding the kitties, and they get so excited. That's the only time I can really pet most of them, is when I'm doing that. Other than that, they just run away. But something about that time, they get so excited about the late night treat time, which is a can of Friskies, or usually. They get enough dry food. They get excited with the can, and I break it up as many ways as I can. And sometimes then I throw in a little dry if I think somebody didn't get something or what have you. And haven't had to heat up the pad lately because it's been warmer than that. But I don't know. You can't count on any particular month not having cool nights where it dips into the 40s. It dipped into the 40s just a few nights ago. But it was a beautiful day today, and we have more beautiful weather coming up. Thank you, Todd Bradshaw, for hitting the Cash App for $30. Thank you, Elaine Peterson, for hitting it for $10. Both of you guys are very faithful. I need more of you. It's been a little sparse lately, and trying to get the views, but there's only so much you can do. I don't want to fake it when I don't have something. If I do another subject that may be good and may be enjoyable to some people, they won't get a notification that the video even exists, like the Suddenly 70s series that I have. About to do a new one real soon. I know some people like the UFOs, and I saw one 2 nights ago. I never finished that story. Always remind me when I don't finish a story. It drives me crazy when I hear the replay, and I do that. But I was just about to come in, and I looked up, and this was triangle shaped, and it was over that way, kind of towards what used to be the state hospital, and it's flying. It's triangle, and it's flying on an angle with like the nose pointed down. It's not that many feet off the ground, but it's not. It's not going to clip a house or anything. And it was a beautiful color of red on one tail, a beautiful color of green, bright. Looked nothing like a plane, sounded nothing like a plane. And I just watched it and said, why didn't I bring my camera when I ran over from this room real quick to get my Xanax and to leave my laundry there for the next morning? Why don't I have my camera now? I would have had enough time to get it, I think. But this will be happening all summer long. They are out there, whether it's a mixture of drones and UFOs, seems to be both, in my opinion. They are out there. I wonder if where you are, Tennessee, are you hearing sounds of engines and things all night long? I know some are drones. Maybe it's our government drones watching over things to see what's going on. But I do agree with Rosie O'Donnell in this. They seem to be everywhere, and it's frequent. It's very different than it was 5 years ago here. We have Stewart Airport. This is not the flight pattern in this area, yet I hear them every night. If I go out there tonight, I'll hear them, and I might just get to see one. If it's cloudy, you don't see them. You see what I mean? So I don't know what's really up there, Elaine, but it is a very interesting story, and a lot of people are picking up on it. They say there's going to be more information released this year. Gallagher was a bust. You mean the guy who broke the watermelons? You must be talking to Neo, because he's got a thing for Gallagher. Yeah, he does. George Carlin was more than a comic. He was a genius. Not that I agreed with everything he ever said, but definitely a genius who could memorize. He wasn't reading a teleprompter. He had memorized this stuff, and he glided from one subject to the other. He really understood all the games of humans, all the things that we do, the gullible side of men and women and what have you, and all the BS of the government, etc., etc. But sometimes he had a filthy mouth, and I don't like to hear the Lord's name in vain. I don't like to hear God's name in vain in any form. He said he tried real hard to believe in God, but he saw too much to the contrary. He just couldn't get there. He was in Catholic school and whatever. And God has a sense of humor because he died in a Catholic hospital in Santa Monica. Who knows what happened in the last day or 2 hours of his life, huh? Who knows what happened? But he was a genius, because he wasn't doing your standard jokes. In the early part with his weatherman stuff that he did and stuff, you could say more of that. I saw one back in 2016, says Todd Bradshaw. Friends thought I was nuts back then saying that now they are everywhere and mainstream, it would seem. I agree with you, Todd. I really, it's going on, and it ain't going nowhere unless, divine inspiration. It's not going anywhere. No, I think I haven't got that enhanced license. I'm cool with driving this time. In the future, perhaps. There will be another Bob Joyce concert, and he could add another one. But I know of another one coming up in November, which will be real close to an airport. So you out-of-towners, pray there's no bad weather. I'm sure it'll be early November. You're not going to have it Thanksgiving week, Be early November, and you'll be able to fly in. You'll be right there. So I would say, Gloria, don't miss how brilliant George Carlin could be because of the filthy mouth. It'd be nice if we could just edit out the words that we would like to edit out, right? That would be good. Is there a program like that somehow? There might be, now that I say that. You could say he was cynical. People could say that. Ephesians chapter 4 in the NIV, beginning with verse 17. So I tell you this and insist on it in the Lord, that you must no longer live as the Gentiles do in the futility of their thinking. They are darkened in their understanding and separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardening of their hearts. Having lost all sensitivity, they have given themselves over to sensuality so as to indulge in every kind of impurity with a continual, there's a strong word, continual lust for more. You, however, did not come to know Christ that way. Surely you heard of him and were taught in him in accordance with the truth that is in Jesus. You were taught with regard to your former way. We're supposed to have former ways that we have laid aside the sin that so easily besets us. You were taught with regard to your former way of life to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor, for we are all members of one body. All members of one body, from Ephesians, the 4th chapter. Not enough to say I love Jesus. The proof is in the pudding, and the pudding in this case is that there's a desire to grow closer to the Lord and to change our ways. Because, boy, my flesh has embarrassed me many, many times. Many, many times. Robin Roman says she confirmed to the staff, with the staff at Graceland, that Bob Joyce goes to Graceland. So there you go. Well, we usually come in at about the same time. Good to be back with you. Tell a friend, tell a florist. We need more people. 45 watching right now, 47 likes. And thank you, Gloria. Good night, everyone. Peace and love. Amen. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Bayou Girl. Thank you, everybody that's been here. Thank you for those who hit the thanks button. We need more of you. And those who hit the Cash App, Media Guy 56, lowercase letters, Media Guy 56 is for the replay crowd too. Media Guy 56 for any amount. That would be greatly appreciated. So we'll probably be back on Saturday night, trying to work on some other things too. It's a struggle. It seems like more of a struggle than it's been in a while, but we will hope for the best. And have a wonderful Thursday. Be careful out there. Look forward to talking to you again right here at Worldwide Ramblings. Bye-bye for now, everybody.